3, 2, go!
Guys, and welcome back to another episode of SIP.
Hello,
Karina. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast with Quadzilla Karina
and Viking Josh.
So today, our special guest, 85 Jiu-Jitsu. Thank you guys for coming on. We have
Yay.
Lee, Bo, and Professor Jose. Coach Lee, Coach Bo, and Professor Jose, guys. And we just want to welcome you guys because it's always great having you on. It's always a great time. And so today we want to just kind of go through, 85 and obviously show some goodies on here. The belt, it's really heavy, by the way.
Yes, it is.
So talk a little bit about your belt here that you won.
Yes, that's a no-gi. Those of you guys that don't know, there's different styles in jiu-jitsu that you wear the kimono traditionally, right, with the uniform, and then there's style of no-gi, which is more submission wrestling based style, which, they're both really fun. Some people like to give preference to one or the other. So this one is the Sub Hunter 170-pound belt that I fought for in March 14 against Joe Murphy, a very talented black belt, who's actually the husband of Lauren Murphy, she's up for a title shot in the UFC.
Oh,
So,
okay. That's
yeah,
awesome.
That was a really cool experience, and I just want to come out here and show it to you guys.
Yes, please do.
Oh,
Show
cool.
us.
Go ahead.
got the
Hold
video?
the bowl because it's pretty heavy.
That thing is heavy, guys.
Yeah. So this is a what they call professional grappling belt. And obviously it's it's really cool to have and everything, but more than anything is the journey and the way to get into it. Now it's just a belt, right? But it's a really, really cool thing to have. I don't know. I don't know. Whenever I won it, I right away gave it to people. I think like I was telling you earlier, might be a personal accomplishment, but I think this is an accomplishment from everyone in my life who has put something from my training partners to my professor to the people that went out and supported me. So
Right,
it's
absolutely.
really cool to come
Yeah.
out and show it.
Well,
Yeah,
just to build off of that, and when you're out there competing, even though I'm not on the stage or on the platform, I feel like I'm out there, and it's really different when you have a dog in the fight, and to sit there and see you train so hard leading up to it, mentally and physically, and being able to be a part of that journey and support you, even though I didn't put myself out there, I still felt really a part of the whole competition and everything leading up to it, and it's a different experience. Obviously, being on there versus not, but still feeling a part of it makes it a very, very enjoyable experience for everybody involved, win, lose, or draw. Right?
Yeah, no, they were a big part of my training regimen at 85. Obviously, what Professor Travis took at Team took as well. And I'm all about learning from everyone, no matter what rank you are. And Lee has helped me a lot in the area of recovery, of getting in shape, and that's why we have 85, because we want to build this and come together and bring it out to people out there. But this is the result of contribution of a lot of people helping me for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's awesome to see that it's a team camaraderie, it's a team effort, not just you. So today we wanted to have you on, too, to kind of showcase and tell about 85 Jiu-Jitsu and what it means to y'all. So if y'all want to take the floor, what made you want to bring 85 to life? What made you want to open it up?
Well, I think with, first off, when you introduced us, you referred to coaches and then professor.
Uh-huh.
Well, the reason we refer to a professor is going to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And the reason we call our school an academy is because it's a place to learn, and it's taught by professors. And, to be able to teach the art of jiu-jitsu, and there's so much more layers and depth to it. When you find something that's special and exciting and something that means that much to you, you want to share it with the people. Not only share it with people, but more so share it with people that you love and care about, family, friends. Case in point, you guys.
Yes.
That's a prime example of that. And, it's there's so many intangibles and unexplainables that come through jiu-jitsu or through martial arts. We feel it's done so much for us. That's why we've kind of came together and created this space for guys and girls like us to not only be able to practice martial arts, but to be able to better themselves. on a daily basis, and that's physically, emotionally, spiritually. I mean, all the above. It's not limited to, oh, I'm big and strong, or choke this out, or submission, or that. That's that's a very small byproduct of what you get out of it. And I think when we came together, it was so organic, and it was just so natural that it made sense.
Right.
And we shared a passion. I got in late in the game. These guys started very early, but that passion that we shared, we knew we had something special, and I'm not gonna say necessarily felt an obligation, but felt we needed to come together and share this with others out there.
I just want to add on to that. Every single time that we come to 85 guys, it literally feels like another family.
Absolutely.
I have to say that even in our experience and in our journey, we've been to different locations, we've tried different things, but one thing that immediately Lee would always tell us, well, we've got this in the works, we've got this in the works. I was like, okay, we're always up for trying something new. But when we step foot in that door, literally, we're like, okay, that's it. We're hooked. So here we are. What is it? 2 months, 3 months in? I always say 2.
Actually, me and Bo were just talking about that. I think it was yesterday or Friday.
Yeah, I think you ended up starting in March.
Yeah, so we've been 4 months now already.
Oh
I
my
know, and I'm
goodness.
like, I had to recount like 5 times. I'm like, oh my god, 4 months already, and it feels like a week. It's like
Wow.
crazy how time's flying by, especially
So-
on things you enjoy.
Yes, we love it. We love it. We love it. And I'm just going to put it out there. We're competing before December.
I love that.
Yep.
So you will be seeing us on the floor sparring. So, but yes, we encourage anybody who is trying to find that community where you feel like you're part of a family, besides us, of course, SIP Warriors. Please check them out. They are amazing.
Yep, absolutely.
And that is what we want to give the people, right? Jiu-Jitsu is this sort of newer sport out there. Even though it's been, out for a couple of decades, it's still very new for our society and people here in this country. Just like think about like a regular hobby or sport like soccer, right, and baseball. That's what I think eventually Jiu-Jitsu is going to become. It's very popular now, but the idea of giving them a family environment is very crucial because back when I started, this was very, more of the MMA scene, only the tough survive, and we really want to build people up to show them that anybody can become a black belt, anybody can accomplish everything, and it's about building a pathway and taking care of them and building up the person, right? That's why we decided to call it 85, because I want anybody to identify themselves with 85 instead of just having, let's say, my last name as Timianas or whatever it is. I think 85 has a very crucial meaning, and what does that stand for? That's the year I was born in. I was born in 85. And the reason why I chose 85, or we chose 85, is because it has a meaning behind it. So 85 is technically an angel number that has a meaning. I'm big in that numbers. And so what it really symbolizes, it's a sign in your life that great things are coming your way, coupled with a great positive changes and positive energy. All the positivity in your life will drive you to become a better person in society, which in my opinion, that's one thing that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has taught me in martial arts. Yeah.
Well, and the positive change and positive energy, as you see, is on our patch, and that's a big part of it. And these are almost controllable variables that you can control. And your attitude when you wake up, and how you're going to spend your 24 hours is indicative of how what actions you want to take. And we feel if you take the right actions in the right mindset with the positivity, that you're destined to overcome or become better through this process. And that's the process that's worked for us so much, and that's the process that we want to implement in other people's lives as well.
That's awesome. What about you, Bo? What made you want to take that next step into this journey?
Into jiu-jitsu, man, I just I fell in love with it a long time ago. Just the aspect of going in there, competing, losing but learning, and I guess that's one thing with us. Whenever we're on the mat with family, so we can roll hard and get tapped out and lose, but not be like, ha, you lost.
Right.
It's kind of, okay, cool, hey,
Yep.
and you talk about it afterwards, and you learn. That I fell in love with, because I'm a very hard-headed learner. So it takes me a few times, So when I have someone to talk to about what I did wrong, helps me tremendously.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like hands-on. Even a lot of times I get so disappointed. Like if I make a mistake, I'm like, man. Especially when I get tapped out, I get submitted. I'm like, dadgummit, again. It's like I keep making that mistake until I'm like, okay, stop making that mistake. Then it becomes a habit to avoid the mistake, and that's one reason I love, especially rolling with you three. It's always the learning behind it. For me personally, it's like, okay, what can I do to make it better? Okay, and 99% of the time, it's like, hey, do this instead of that. I'm like, oh, now it makes sense, and like we were talking about the other day, it's that aha moment, and for me, it's not even always at jiu-jitsu. Sometimes I'll be at home in the shower, or I'm walking the dog. I'm like, oh yeah, I just realized where I've been messing up. I know where I can, make it better at. So it's awesome to continue to learn. For me, it's also like reading books, right? And I've started reading some of the books y'all suggested, and they've helped me grow already just in the past few weeks. And to me, that's like another part of my brain that I've discovered to open up with jiu-jitsu. And it's not even just about being on the mat and roll, but it's about opening your mind to learn new things, something completely out of the ordinary. It's like something that I didn't think I would get into because, I've had injuries or setbacks or this or that, this and that. And to me, it's like, okay, now I found for me, it's a new passion, and it's like, okay, now I want to venture down this road to see where it leads to. So it's been a great experience. It's awesome. I love it. Even the kids, because they've been doing boxing for a while. And when we first started jiu-jitsu, oh, well, it's fun and all, but I'd rather strike. And then now Xavier's like, well, I liked boxing, but now I'd rather do jiu-jitsu.
It's very intriguing. It's very intriguing. It's not an ego. Obviously, anybody can have. Everyone has an ego, right? You got to have an ego somehow. But it's very intriguing because you don't understand how somebody who you think you can dominate and control with your size and strength, and it's able to submit you. One of the best stories I've ever had is when I was a purple belt traveling the country for competitions. I was in LA with a legend in jiu-jitsu called Charles Cobrinha, and he's like phenomenal. He's 145 pounds, and I was already a trained purple belt competing at an international level, and he just destroy me. It was like I had a 500-pound guy that just moves so fast, and it's so incredible. That's what makes it so intriguing. But then you realize there's a ton of technique, strategy behind it. It shows you how to use your body properly and put yourself in positions where you have the advantage. And I would say this, Josh and Karina had only been training for a couple months, but man, I was just talking to Bo about it, and Lee, I was like, man, they're tough, because you guys
Makes you feel better.
you guys. So I just can't wait until you learn more of the strategy, how to use your advantages. That's gonna make it tough. For sure.
Well, I think with jiu-jitsu, people, they always see the physical side of it, and they always see, the submissions and the positions and the competitions. You see a lot of that type of stuff out there, and people don't realize the mental side of it is way deeper than the physical side. And the layers deep with the technique, and when to turn it on and when to turn it off, and when to coast and things of that nature. People don't really realize that, and you can't really see that. You can more so feel that when you're training with somebody and you get the flow and everything else. And I think that's what's really intriguing. That's what really, harnesses a lot of people in, is that, we're all, a lot of us are workout junkies, and we chase that. We chase that. We can often get that, the runner's high and this and that. But there's a mental side of it that is just so deep and unexplainable. I think that's what really hooks you, hook, line, and sinker, once you, really get into it and explore your jiu-jitsu journey.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's how I was training with Lee at first. I'm like, man, this guy's so strong. I can't wait until learns technique. You know what I mean? But then now we're just talking about it. Now he's not using a lot of his strength.
Yeah.
And sometimes that makes it a little more difficult for me because I feed off of that.
Right.
I have a family in Willis, Texas that I do private lessons with, and they're actually the owners of Ancestral Supplements. I don't know if you guys ever heard of them.
Yeah.
Which you haven't. You should look into it.
Good stuff.
I take that stuff, and I'm lucky to be with them. Anyways, Brian, he's one of the biggest specimen guys that I've ever trained with. Super strong, and I'm starting to train with him more often, you know. And as much as this guy can go around throwing bags, exercising, doing CrossFit, everything, he can technically only roll for about 2 minutes, and he's worn out. And he's just like, it's just incredible how heavy you are, how strong you are. But I know you're only 178 pounds, you know. Yep. So that is the beauty of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I want to add on to that. When we first started, it was like I felt like a rag doll. I always say that. It's like, it didn't matter how strong I was. It's like the technique was just like, and there goes Karina flying on the mat. And I was like, oh no. So that right there, just not being able to be in control, it just threw me off. And, you know, I was like, nope, this is not okay. We're going to control this. So with time, I've realized, you know, yeah, you can be strong, but that technique, oh my goodness. And I remember one night, I was in the tub soaking, and he was in the restroom with me. And I was like, I feel so sad. I'm so mad. I'm so upset. He's like, why, babe? I said, because I can't get this stupid technique yet. And he's like, just be patient, babe. Just be patient. It's going to come. And, you know, I'm not saying that I'm an expert. Of course not. But it's like, now I can see it. Now I can see the moves. Now I'm like, oh, there's an arm bar. Oh, there, you know, the triangle. And so now I can actually see that, and I'm trying to, you know, now practice them. But guys, this is addicting. Just so you know, it's very addicting.
It is. And I think one of the things about it too is I could see that, you know, for a lot of parents that want to get their kids into something,
Yes.
I think this is a great thing, especially for kids, so that, you know, for me, I was a troubled teen growing up. I was always into something, and it was always the wrong thing. I think we
all were.
Yeah, right? But I think, you know,
Hey.
We all had to get rid of something, right, in our past.
yeah, we all had to get rid of something, whether it was a teardrop tattoo or not. But
Who are they talking about?
but with that, I can see how, because for me it was you know, fitness that got me away from the bad things. But I think if I would have found jiu-jitsu before fitness, that would have been my path out of the bad things, out of the, you know, away from the bad people that I used to hang around with, and just kind of lead me down a different path. But I think that's something that parents should really get their kids into, especially at a young age.
Yes.
Especially if you're, you know, a single parent, or even if you're don't want your kid to hang around the wrong group or the wrong, you know, to me it's just more like a family atmosphere, to where you get the right guidance, you know, not only just as a childhood, but in life, period, you know.
I want to add on to that, sorry, real quick. As a child, you know, in my childhood, I can tell you with what you've said, a lot of children, teenagers are looking for that family bond, that family atmosphere. And that is why they end up going to the wrong crowd.
Especially gangs. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So parents, if you're out there and you're listening, please understand that you're not always there. The kids, when they are bored, how does it go? Don't you even go there. A bored mind is a dangerous thing. So if you've got kids, get them involved in activities, because you don't want them to be going in and finding that affection, that attention, that seeking that wrong crowd, because listen, you're going to regret it. Not only you, but them, you know, as well. But it's this type of atmosphere that they crave, that they need, which allows them to build up that personality, to gives them that self-confidence, to give them that, help me out here, guys.
It's discipline.
Thank you.
And
Yes,
I think
thank
as
you.
a parent, and my daughter, my oldest, Madeline's 7 years old. She's one of the originals in our kids program. And as a parent, sitting back and watching this, you know, originally, you know, everybody wants their kids to be able to defend themselves. I mean, everybody's always about the bully in the playground and this and that. And that kind of, you know, started the finding martial arts in their lives. But the reality is that, you know, that's self-defense is a byproduct of actually what they learn in you know, our kids program. And Professor Jose is phenomenal with these kids, and the amount of you know, respect he can get from them and attention. And it's just, like I had to cover class, Coach Bowen, I had to cover class the other day, and coaching your own kid is a whole other level. And I was legitimately like, hey, you don't do this when Professor Jose's here, then why are you doing it when I'm coaching today? Right. And the reality is that, the program comes off of the 7 magic words and the focus drills and the 7 magic words, yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, please, thank you, and you're welcome. These are this is manners and self-respect and self-discipline that we're teaching these kids. That is the foundation of everything else that we build off of. And, as a parent, you want that taught to your kids more than anything versus self-defense. But the byproduct of learning that in conjunction with everything else, they get it all. And it's above and beyond just a martial arts, but a character building.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it builds characteristics of the individual for sure, the attitude and everything that we really try to form, or at least my instructor, Travis, has taught me, because that's where I started managing the kids program, and he kind of let me run it and it's one of the best, in my opinion, probably one of the best kids program in the nation. And I'm not talking to build it up. I'm speaking from the facts of everything that we do. There's a lot of great jiu-jitsu schools out there, and I would recommend anybody to do it. I would never talk down anybody. I think it's for everyone. Yep. But what separates us from everyone else is the idea that we're bringing a lot of leadership traits into it, right? We give them homework to take home. We build up their public speaking, right? We build up their discipline, their confidence. And another thing that we do, and if you go watch my kids' class, like, they can teach techniques. They can run the warm-ups. They can get the kids in line. If I ask you, I'll be like, I have Drake, who's 9 years old. And I'll be like, Drake, get the line in order. And all the other girls, in there will get on top of it. I can just simply look at them, and they're like, so, and it's not about they're scared of me. It's like you said, they learn to respect you, but also comes with you giving the respect that they need. I think sometimes we forget about kids. They're humans, and you got to treat them how you want them to treat you, because you need to teach them. So you have to lead their characteristics to be of somebody that, one, is going to go out there and help anybody, is going to go out there and teach anybody, and in their integrity is going to allow them to make the right decision. Like you said earlier, it's so easy to get caught up on the wrong things. Yeah. It's so much easier than to come to jiu-jitsu and build up. But once you come to jiu-jitsu and you push your kid to do this, man, the result is big. Like you said, I would say very low percentage of people come to jiu-jitsu looking to make their kid the next big champion.
Right.
They don't even care about that. They just want their kid to not be as shy, to be more confident in their skills and learn how to be out there in society, because we have to train our kids to be out there and be the next model of what we want in this world. You know what I mean? We focus too much on the past of us, but I think it's about making path for them and showing them how. Yeah. And so I think through a program like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at 85, that's what we're definitely trying to bring out to kids.
Absolutely, especially today, nowadays, today's day and age, it's, kids don't have the respect. No, most kids, I don't want to say all, but, a lot of kids nowadays, they don't have the respect. And, we have a generation that's coming up that's like, it's sad to see the way a lot of things are going, and it's like, we still have the old souls which want to see the respect come back, and that's something that we truly need to bring this generation into. It
starts with gratitude, like, I think we all have gratitude for what we're doing, and the kids will see what you're doing from them. They'll have gratitude to their parents, you know what I mean? And I think it's so much easier to follow your integrity and what you want in life and why when you have been shown the way. So, and another thing before I is not every kid, in my perfect world, I would love every kid to go up and be a black belt. Right. But one thing that I've learned in this, business of trying to get people up there is sometimes some people are going to fall off. Right. And it's okay. And at least my instructor has shown me, we lost kids before, like, man, why did they quit? Their parents, had issues or whatever. They couldn't make it. And it's like, it's going to happen. So not everyone's going to be in here, but our mission is to at least teach them something from the time that they were there to the time they quit that they can carry on to life.
We're teaching them life skills.
And even if they quit, they may pursue a different passion. But if jiu-jitsu gave them the confidence and the ability to pursue that passion, then I consider that a win. It's not for everybody, but at the same time, the intangibles you take away, positive change, positive energy, is exactly what we strive for. And it's not contingent on you becoming a black belt at 85. It's you pursuing that passion, and if we can give you the confidence to do that, then that's what it's about.
Which is similar to what we do. We plant seeds, trying to teach a lifestyle. So like you said, people fall off. It's part of the journey, but at the end of the day, guess what? What they learned with you, they're going to remember.
And then not every kid is going to go, and the whole bully, it is a problem out there, right? But not every kid is going to come in here and learn how to defend themselves and go out and stop every bully.
Right.
What it does, it allows them to be out of the shell, to be themselves, to be confident, to look, like they know what they're doing because they can defend themselves. And then what happens, eventually they're not a target.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I'm saying? They never even had to defend themselves. They simply came from their characteristic and how they carry themselves, that a bully is not going to target them because they're confident. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, and on the flip side of that, what if your kid is the bully?
Yeah.
And, now you've given them an outlet to let that aggression out. Now you've given them that ability to express themselves in a safe manner and not, at the expense of another kid's emotion or another kid's pain. And I think that's huge as well, because once you possess that ability to control your emotions, which I think jiu-jitsu does really good with, then you feel like you don't have to go out there and pick on kids, and then you feel the opposite is that I need to protect these kids. I need to look after them. The whole the sheep and the sheepdog and the whole mentality starts to shift. So whether you're getting bullied or whether you could possibly be the bully, you can still come out on the other end way ahead of this thing, but it takes the investment of the positive change and the positive energies to build that character to move forward.
Are you a parent?
Yes.
I love it, but that is so true, though.
It is. Absolutely, yep. So you want to showcase the belts here, and then kind of like the the progression, usually time frames. I know everybody's different, but if you can go through kind of the belts, the colors, and time frame.
Bo kind of go into the colors, and he can talk about maybe a little bit as his journey as the white and the blue belt. some longer than others, but that's okay though. And I want to point out that Bo and Professor Jose started at the same time, and that's actually where they met. But they've taken two complete different paths. And not that one's right or one's wrong, but they're different, and that's Coach Bo's path, and that's Professor Jose's path, and that's okay. And there's not an obligation or a timeline set that you got to get here or get there.
Same thing.
Well, case in point. Yeah. But ironically enough, when you start out as a white belt, you can't wait to be a blue belt. Well, me speaking as a somewhat new new blue belt. I almost felt imposter syndrome to a certain degree, that I didn't want my blue belt. I mean, I wanted it and I'm grateful for it, but at the same time, I just know how good these blue belts are and what level they're at. And I was like, holy smokes, I don't think I'm ready. The professor's he's gonna promote you when he feels you're ready. And it's not contingent on how many classes you took or how many tournaments you've won or anything like that. It's when he feels you are mentally and physically ready, which I think is very interesting, because, a lot of the martial arts paths before were always predicated on how many classes and this and that, and this is kind of something that you don't know when you're going to be ready.
You got to be worthy of it.
100%.
Yeah. So starting off with the white belt, on average, you're going to run on the white belt probably on average 2 years,
2.5, 2 years. I mean, go ahead.
I, on the other hand, was a white belt for about 10.
But I have to tell you something. I
white
actually asked him, because we had this conversation with yesterday, I believe it was, or Friday. I'm like, man, I really, not that I'm in a rush to get my blue belt, but how long does it typically take? And I was like, Bo, how long did it take you? And then he told me, I'm like, well.
So I did take a lot of time off. Like we said earlier, me and Jose started training at the same time. That's how we met. I got a job across town, so I was having to drive across town, drive, home. By the time I got home, I really didn't want to do anything. It was kind of, it just wasn't a good time, but I still loved it. So whenever I got to a position now where I bought the home that I'm in now, and it was a lot closer to the academy, I jumped back in as soon as possible. And solid, I would say I was probably white belt for closer to 5 years. Training hard. I actually got my blue belt when I won gold. I actually got my blue belt.
On the podium.
I got first place. I was on the podium. They're handing out medals and everything, and I see Jose kind of like, okay, everybody. And he starts talking and making a little speech. Someone's like, "What's going on? Like, how come he's talking like that?" And he pulls a blue belt out, and it was just like, it was a dream come true for me.
And I want to say that I had to borrow the belt. There was a guy. Was it the guy that you fought in the finals or something?
I don't remember.
It was a guy that you beat, I think. And I was like, "Hey, man, can I borrow your belt?" I just want to promote him real quick. I think he deserves it.
So you took his medal and his belt. For the same day.
But yeah, and then I was probably a blue belt for good almost 2 years. And then I currently have my purple belt, which I got my purple belt in January. So I've only been a purple belt.
No, you're a blue belt longer.
For how long?
I don't know.
It was
longer than 2 years, like at least 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because you were blue belt when I started.
Yeah.
And I didn't. It took
Okay.
me 3 years, and you got yours right when I did. So yeah.
How long did it take you?
About 3 years.
3 years?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm white, a blue. Yeah, just so no rush to get to. And I think you start looking at it differently once you start competing. Because
His face up.
No, the reason I said that because I always tell people like enjoy that white belt and blue belt process because it's like our childhood. You'll never go back to being a child again, so you gotta enjoy it. And at least from their perspective, they were there. Lee, on the average, Lee's a very busy guy, and I think there's a couple of things that. He was injuries, right? You had a couple injuries. So if not, it would have taken him shorter time.
Right.
And then obviously we both had a lifestyle, but I always tell people enjoy that. I personally was not a white belt and blue belt for that long, and it wasn't because I was a phenom. I just loved it so much. It's like Bo was saying, I worked in construction. I got up in the morning, did construction, carry my gi, and I made it to the gym no matter what because I just loved it. On the weekends, I'll get up and drive across town just to find a place to train. But it wasn't that I was trying to move up the belts. I was just trying to learn.
Right.
I was just so passionate about it. But that blue belt and white belt foundation, enjoy it. Learn as much as you can.
Well, that's a good point. Like it's like being a kid. When you're a kid, you can't wait to be a teenager. You can't wait to be an adult. And then by the time you're an adult or a teenager, you're like, oh man, I wish I was still a kid again. I can't go back. I'm stuck. And always in hindsight, it's 2020. But enjoy the process, guys. Enjoy the white belt. It is it's your foundation of what you're going to build on, and a lot comes from it. And it's probably some of the most fun I've ever had was at that stage of my training.
Yeah. And competing as a white belt, whenever you do compete, you're competing more against the people that are just kind of starting off, just like you. Once you get to blue belt, then you start hitting those competitors, and you get the competitor blue belts, and that's a different level.
Right.
You can become the best white head out there. As soon as you get your blue belt, you are the suckiest blue belt ever. So
just wait until you get to black belt.
Yes. And it's funny because I see him and all the black belts that are out there now, and you can have your guy that just got promoted to a black belt, and then you can have your guy that's been a black belt for 10 years, and they're in the same division.
Yeah.
So yes, once you get to the black belt, it becomes a whole nother level.
Wow.
So I'm not really there. Yes, I'm I'm right here. I'm focusing on these guys here.
Working on this bad boy right here.
Working on my brown belt.
Sorry.
No, and I think the belts, they signify a lot of time and a lot of investment and a lot of passion that to get to this level for me to, even if I'm traveling around and I see or if a customer's in the store and I hear that they're a purple belt or they're a brown belt, it just kind of triggers something in my mind. Wow, that person's really dedicated and committed, because I know the amount of effort and time and the resources it takes to get to that level. Just kind of changes the perspective of how you view people, because it's such a process and it's such a commitment. And we give a lot of respect to somebody that can go through that and commit themselves in time and effort to achieve something of that magnitude.
Yeah, and that's why you conduct yourself to a professor, to a black belt as a professor. It's kind of like the same degree that you've earned in college, right?
Right.
And the belt is really cool, but it's more everything that you get with it. The reason I want to talk about the belt is because obviously this is the uniform that we wear. It's a kimono. It's a gi. I don't know if you guys can see the patch and the uniform. So you can use this to choke people out, to manipulate their body, to throw them around. And that's the pants over here. We do have a rash guard. Now, the reason I will mention the rash guard is because this is what we wear under uniform, but then you got the no-gi style. So you got BJJ with the kimono, which you wear the belt, and then you have the no-gi, right? Those of you guys that maybe don't want to wear a kimono, there is no-gi as well, and the belt is cool to have and everything, but based on what I know the story of jiu-jitsu and the belt, there was only white belts back in the day. So the structure came from, if you go to the academy and you see old white belts, right? And this is way, way back. The way that came around is when you show up and you see somebody who's wearing a white belt, but it's all dirty, it starts shading into black.
Oh, that's interesting.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah,
so it gets dirty, shading dark and black and black.
Yeah.
So when you show up, there was no brown, purple, black belts, right? And you see a white belt, oh, that white belt's super dirty. He's probably good, you know what I mean? Oh, that white belt's fairly new. Oh, he's probably just starting. And so that's what kind of the concept of belt is, shading into that black color. That's where the ranking comes from, I believe. It's kind of like the cauliflower ear,
Right.
We were talking about it earlier. It's like if you see somebody with a cauliflower ear, you probably don't want to mess with that guy, because they've earned that.
Yeah.
They earned that competitive fighting on the mats or doing MMA or doing whatever they're doing, So yeah, that black shading, the white shading into black is what gave the rank the uniformity.
Okay.
That's
really
really
cool.
interesting, yeah.
That's awesome.
We got one more item here.
Yeah. What's that?
They're gold.
This is an IBJJF medal. I've competed. When was it? Oh, that was 2 weeks. That was the week
Prior.
before.
Week prior.
Yeah.
A week
So
prior.
I ended up signing up to a competition in Dallas, which is wearing the kimono, right? And it was the first competition after COVID. It shut down a lot of things. And I went out there. Bo, you went with me, right? Bo went with me. We drove there the morning off, weighed in. So I have to diet. You have to be on weight, And I weighed in. I competed. I won my first match by arm bar fairly quickly. And then I won my second match by Toho. I kind of broke that guy's foot. That's why they stopped the match. And then I fought a very tough Brazilian guy in the finals, and it came down to the last 20 seconds. Yeah, 20 seconds. And I ended up getting my gold medal. And IBJJF, those of you guys that don't know IBJJF, it's the biggest organization for jiu-jitsu, and that's who they form like the world championships and everything. So winning this tournament, it's a big deal. And so yeah, that was with the kimono. And then the following week, I came back to Houston and fought for this belt with no gi. So I was training to two different styles at the same time.
That's awesome.
And the reason why I had signed up for this one, and then the promoter asked me, is like, hey man, Joe Murphy's up for a title and you're the perfect match for him. And I was like, I had told Bo, I was like, because I actually ref one of his matches. I was like, I got a feeling I got to go with this guy. Because he's just moved from Arizona. It's like, I'm like a dog behind them. I don't talk much, but I'm like, okay, we got to go. We got to see what. And it was like I manifested that, you know what I mean? And then the promoter hit me up with this, and I was like, let's do it. And found out, I didn't know much about Joe. I just know he's super tough. But I had seen him win by leg locks. And so I thought he was just great at leg locks, right? Which is crazy. I was training no gi leg locks, and I was training for gi strategy in here, and I ended up winning by leg lock too.
Oh,
So
wow, that's awesome.
I just want to say that even if I had not won this medal and this belt, it still forced me to work on areas that I have to work on and get better at it. So that's the benefit of competing, is that it makes you work on things you wouldn't work on a daily basis, and that's why the result is here.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of video to watch. Whenever you go out there on stage, everybody's recording, so you have a lot of video to watch afterwards and like see all your mistakes.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny because after the first time we met Professor Jose, Xavier's like, I think I've seen him on YouTube. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then we go home and he's like, look, that was him. And I think it was that fight. It was on YouTube where you had won by ankle lock.
Yeah, I have quite a few videos on YouTube, quite a few losses. And from there, old school losses. And I did MMA before. I actually have a belt from my amateur MMA career. But yeah, it's cool to have that out there. But man, we change. We change a lot. I'm way different than 2 years ago.
Yes.
That's the beauty of martial arts.
Yeah, that's actually something that we were just talking about in this journey. I mean, it's just amazing how much you grow physically, mentally, and spiritually. We were talking about this, what was it, earlier, a couple of weeks ago, because we both sat back and we're like, man, look at how far we've come in the average of a year. Like everything that we're doing now, it didn't even cross our minds to do it last year, and here we are now. Like, for me, kickboxing and now Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and
Well, and you guys are like the epitome of the foundation of what we want to build, and I'll go a little bit more in depth on that. Is, bringing a new member in or a potential new member. We love seeing you guys partner up and the camaraderie and the welcomeness that you guys bring in, and that's what it's about. It's about helping each other, and like we've always said, we want you guys to beat us. We want you to submit us. That means two things: we're really good coaches, and we got to step our game up, and that's it's going to get to that point. It's not if, it's when. Because that's the path we're on, and both you guys are getting phenomenal on it. And we were talking about the other day, like we got to do real jiu-jitsu with you guys. It's not okay, go through the motions. Like, no, you better turn it on and be ready, because if not, one of you may catch us slipping, and we got to have our start to step up our A game, and that type of mentality of bringing welcoming and inviting, and if someone new comes in, I'm 100% confident that if they partner up with Josh or Karina or any one of our other members, they're all phenomenal about it, that we don't have to worry about anything, that it's going to be more, I'm going to help you through and learn the drills and just try to dominate you, and that's what it's about, and that's why we feel it's so important to have members like you guys a part of our foundation, and to build off of that. And we feel, our reach will be a lot more with that type of mentality, and that's the goal, is to grow this thing.
Absolutely.
There was one day that we were, when we have first started, I can't recall who said this. It's like, okay, guys, make sure you take care of your partner because their life is in your hands, or something like that. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, this is true. You get choked out, you get submitted.
Well, I don't know if you ever known, that's where the whole bowing to people come from. Like the samurais back in the day, they wear a uniform and a headgear, right? So you can't really hit them with the sword, right? So their vulnerable spot was always the neck. So when you approach someone and you're bowing to them, you're exposing the weaker part of your neck where it can just get you, right? So what does that mean? That means I'm trusting you with my body. So every time you shake hands and you bow, it's a mutual agreement that we're going to train hard, but we're going to trust each other's body with it,
Absolutely, and I can tell that's a huge thing with everybody that we've sparred with, everybody we've trained with, and it's a great feeling to know that you're going to be taken care of. They're not going to purposely hurt you just because they have too much ego in the game, and it's a great feeling to know that too, especially when you're sparring.
Well, to be able to possess the ability and, to submit somebody or choke somebody out is one thing, but to be able to control that ability, I think, takes you on another level.
Yes.
And trusting others and with your joints or your neck or anything like that, builds this, this intangible amongst the team and everybody that is just unexplainable.
Trust.
It's really special, and that's trust that you have that you typically you may not ever have with anyone in your life. Now you have it with multiple peoples on a regular basis. It's pretty unexplainable.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, when do you plan on competing again?
I don't know. I was just talking to them, like there's a big promotion coming in town, and they just hit me up, like if I want to compete for them. But I'm coming off of like being in at home for a couple of days, being a little sick under the weather. So I really I'm in a point right now, Josh, where I really want to focus on you guys. I want to get Lee out there competing, Bo out there competing. I want to show you guys the path. And I really want to focus on 85 right now.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean I don't like to compete. Doesn't mean I'm not going to compete. But that's my main objective in life. I have other personal goals, and all my focus is on 85 right now. But if I was to make anything of it, probably towards the end of the year.
Okay.
There is a competition, Nogi Worlds, going on in October, November, I believe. October. And that's one where I really want to do. But I want to push you guys to compete.
That's my main
thing.
That's definitely our plan. What about you, Bo?
I'm actually probably looking at that same event. Probably not closer to December. I'm definitely wanting to change a weight class. So I'm wanting to drop down to probably 160-ish to see what I can do. Dropping down to 160 and keeping my strength, which I have a great strength and conditioning coach and
nice.
and a nutritionist, so they've been taking care of me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What about you, Lee? You plan on competing?
Yeah, I'm looking to get back out there. It's a big, physical and emotional commitment, but I got to put myself back out there.
Yeah.
Coming off a few injuries and a few other things, but at the same time, suck it up, Buttercup.
Exactly.
Get out there.
We live off pressure,
Yeah, exactly.
Pressure is what makes us.
Yes,
It's like,
I agree.
I remember whenever we're opening 85, and I'm like, okay, I signed up for a competition. I know we got 85 going on, and I have a lot of other things in life. And then they offer me this. They're like, oh, Lee, I took a match too. It's like, I know we have the opening of the gym, and he's like, I love it. Pressure. It's like, I was like, you know.
Let's go. And that's the thing is that, it's putting yourself out there and committing is half the battle.
Right.
And, the battle that you have on the mat itself, it happens so fast. You don't even realize, when it happens. And but I think leading up to it is the most pressure you'll feel through that. But coming out the other end, is where it's at, and being able to come out, whether win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. It was a commitment, and you survived it, and you're coming out better. And I think that's what makes competing so special, is putting yourself out there and doing that.
Yeah. I mean, the results, is you got to think about every time you go to a competition, there's only one guy who's going to win. It could be 50, it could be 25, it could be two people in your division. There's only one guy who's going to win. Sometimes we get swept away by the result. I've lost many times. I probably, if I can go back and look at how many times I lost, man, I'll be like that guy that has 500 record. Like he's won a lot of matches, but he's lost a lot. But the result is not like he said, like Lee said. It's the journey that makes you who you are. The result is one little part, doesn't determine who you are. Eventually you'll get your wins.
I think I want to add on to that because in reality, it's like you don't lose. You end up winning something in the end. It's like you've got experience, you've got knowledge, you build yourself up higher. So despite what happens, you're never losing.
Exactly. You
You're still
learn
winning.
from it. You grow
I
from
agree.
it.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
I think that's it.
So any final words you would want to tell people that are on the line, on the fence of jiu-jitsu or trying to get their kids into anything?
Do it now.
Do it.
The one thing that is never guaranteed is time.
Yeah.
Time's gonna
Yeah,
pass
sure.
by.
Take that leap of
Just do
faith.
it now. Give your kid a path towards a better future. Give yourself a better future because you know where your kid is gonna be at. You know what I mean? And just enjoy it. Come out at 85. We have our Instagram, our Facebook. We have our phone numbers that you guys can reach us out. And I'm sure, Bo, you have it, right? But yeah, just do it now.
But now, that's a great one. And one thing I love about it too, it's something you get to enjoy with your kids.
Yes.
Jump in class if you don't want to sit out. So, Bo, what would you want to tell the people that are on the fence of jiu-jitsu or wanting to get their kids into anything?
If you have goals, you do need to make a plan. Have a plan. Have a step one. whatever it may be, whether it be just getting your confidence up, losing weight, or just being bored. Have a goal. What I need to do. Give us a call. That's probably step one, is call, and if not us, somebody. Find a gym in your area, and just give him a call. Stop by.
Nice. What about you, Lee?
Yeah, and I agree with all of you guys on what you said. Obviously, do it now. Waiting. Well, I'm waiting for this. Well, my toe hurts and it's gonna feel better tomorrow. I'll do that. Or I'm gonna lose weight before I start jiu-jitsu. Or I want to get in shape before it. No. Jiu-jitsu will do all that for you. And that's the thing, is that make the commitment and stick with the commitment. You're not gonna. There's gonna be days that you it makes sense, and there's gonna be days it doesn't make any sense, and there's days all in between. But get out there and make the commitment. If you feel uncomfortable, not knowing what to expect, then set up a personal intro with us, and we'll do a one-on-one. We provide the gis, we provide everything. All you have to do is show up with a good attitude, and then we'll take it from there. And come out and put yourself out there, give it a shot, try it, and see where it goes from there. And then also on the flip side, if you have a kid and you want to bring your kid out there, what better way to motivate and inspire your kid than for you to be out on the mat with them? And that makes a big difference. And obviously your kids can respect you, but they'll respect you a whole lot differently seeing you out there. Put yourself out there in that discomfort on something you typically wouldn't do, and them simply seeing that in itself will help them grow and get better and see you in a different light too. So not only do it now, but put yourself out there just like you would ask your kid to do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if they want to contact us, they can personally message me or call me at 832-724-6866. It's 832-724-6866. And if you're in the obviously Northside Houston area, we'd love to have you. And if you're in a different area, I'll gladly guide you towards another Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, because we're on the same team at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Where can they reach you, Lee?
Well, the best thing to do if you want to reach out would be social media is really good. Give us a follow at 85BJJ. And DMs are really good as well, because we monitor those quite a bit. Plus, it'll also give you an opportunity to go kind of see some of our previous classes. Like we're a bunch of white belts right now, and we're growing, and it's really cool to be able to grow together. But it's a no ego atmosphere. It's a safe place for you guys to come. Try something new, unique, and different, and put yourself out there and grow from it. Positive change and positive energy is what we're about.
What are the handles, Bo?
We are at on Facebook. We are at 85 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy. That's at 85 MMA actually. And then on Instagram, we are 85 Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Just find us on there. Start following us and send us a message.
Absolutely. It was great having y'all guys on here once again.
Yes.
Of course, we're going to have another go around. And then also we look forward to competing and being coached by the best. I can't wait. I'm excited for it. So I think if it weren't for her competition coming up in Vegas, I'd try to compete a lot sooner. I think I have that itch. So I'm ready for it. I'm excited.
You still can. Don't use me as a.
We'll do it the same weekend as yours.
Just no pressure.
So guys, thank you again.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having it. Thank you for coming.
There you go. All right, guys, have a blessed day.
Bye.